No, sorry, I didn't even mean empanada.
What
did I mean?
We're gonna say tamale.
Yes. I did not mean empanada at all. Cut that.
I'm not cutting shit, Dan. Welcome to your first episode and getting to find out that Tony doesn't make any edits, as you pointed out. This week we discuss local loggers with the new Clark, Dan, aka Hip Hops. This is episode 74 of the Malting Hour.
What's the haps on the hops? Got yeast, that's bees. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
We know what. What were you going to say, Brandon? What were you going to say?
No, it's just I didn't know if the fade actually works.
It did.
But then I was like, that was kind of a problem.
It was fine. I was literally about to start talking. I was going to say, we know what two teams now are in the Super Bowl. Welcome to the NFL podcast. It's not true.
We do know?
Well, no. By the time this episode comes out, yeah, we know.
I don't know who's winning the other game right now.
I just told you. Oh, jeez. Welcome to the Malting Hour. Let's start this over. Welcome to the Malting Hour. I am one of your hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger,
and making his co-host debut. Well, hold on before I get to that. As some of you may or may have not noticed, we kept making mention that Clark wasn't going to be around. Well, it's true. Clark's not going to be around all the time.
We murdered him.
He's dead. No, he's not dead. Oh my God. Great. Now it's recorded that you murdered him. And you included me in that, Brandon. Thanks a lot. But Clark,
Tony murdered him.
Clark is pretty busy being a dad. And, all three of us are dads. I don't make Clark so freaking special. He's got a lot on his plate. I'm just joking. But Clark did want to take some time off. He will be back. So naturally, we needed to fill in the void of Clark being the void. And what better way to fill the void than with someone who might actually bring something to the table? Someone who might actually have some knowledge when it comes to beer. Someone who we at least respect. And I'm talking about none other than Hip Hops himself. Can we start this over? I kind of just want to start the whole thing over. Just want to start the whole fucking episode over. Dan, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? It's Danny with Hip Hops and
the Malting Hour now.
And the Malting Hour now. I got to add that to my Insta bio. And it is a little weird not being called a special guest anymore. But
you're not, man. You're now official co-host.
You're no longer special. Sorry,
just
man.
Normal.
No, you're just.
Well, and it's funny. So your intro just answered a question for me. Like, are you okay with people calling you Danny?
Yeah, I mean that's what most people do call me.
I call you Dan. You're in my phone as Daniel Hip Hops.
Yeah, and then my buddies Tony, who you met, they call me OD because there's another Daniel, and so OD is other Daniel.
I think we talked about there being another Daniel, but we didn't know about the OD thing.
Yeah,
I think I knew about that. I think I knew about that when I met the other
Tony.
Right. This is it was like the Spider-Verse when we hung out.
It went I go very official on my phone. Everybody goes by the phone name. It's Anthony, Michael, like Clarkowski, Fuga Howitz, like
Bartholomew,
Daniel, like Patrick. I don't know why I ever started doing that. And then when I refer to people, except for Tony, like most people, I'm like I use like full names. Like I don't use abbreviations. And then I think Tony sent a text and it said Danny. I was like, oh man. It's cool with Tony saying Danny.
It's funny. My wife has me in the phone as Anthony, in her phone as Anthony. She never calls me Anthony.
Yeah, Mike says Anthony, do not answer.
Or reply to text.
But yeah.
That's perfect. Well, anyways, Dan, thanks for becoming a part of the show, man. How does it feel? How does it feel to have another obligation other than your own social media, beer and vinyl pairing?
Feels good. I mean,
that's a lie.
I always wanted to be able to hang out with you guys. and with the pandemic and everything, this is a good way for us to make it happen.
Well, it's funny because, we're starting off this year much like we did last year almost, which is not in person. We are doing this via Zoom. Thank you guys for doing that. For the first time I had to keep changing plans because of a young child. So I just thought this made more sense. So I appreciate you guys switching it to this evening. And next time we do a show, we'll be in person. So we will be hanging out more. That's cool. We got that.
Yeah, we got some big shows planned.
We do. This guy fucking knows what he's talking about.
The fact that there was a listener being like, I want to hang out with those guys. I'm like, oh, man. I mean, I listen back to some of our episodes. I'm like, I don't want to hang out with these guys. I'm like, what is wrong with these guys?
I don't even like us.
But so this leads us into this episode, actually, because the catalyst for this, we had an original idea. And then again, we decided to opt to Zoom. And Daniel was nice enough. We threw out some ideas. He threw out some ideas, and we kind of latched on to some loggers. So
yeah,
Daniel was nice enough to do some shopping. Did you go to Bottles and Cans?
Bottles and Cans,
just
Edgebrook.
Yep. Yeah, shout out to Bottles and Cans in Edgebrook.
Yes, Bottles and Cans in Edgebrook. Some guy there. I still have your card, and I will be reaching out so you can come on to the show.
Oh, well,
is it the guy that has the podcast?
No.
Oh.
But they actually offered us to do an episode at Bottles and Cans too. So
yeah, so that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Access to beer right away. Be like, we're just gonna build. That would be a fun show. Like,
you want to do it after the final pour with that $400 bourbon you got over there? Let's do it.
No, what we could do is like I don't know, like make a game of it, like a supermarket sweep type deal where you gotta run and go grab a beer and we'll pay for everything.
I'll call my buddy Guy Fieri. He can come in.
There we go.
Some obscure beer style. It's like, find the Rauch beer.
Hey, you know what? That would be. I mean,
this is an off mic conversation.
Audio, that would be crazy, but visually, that would be.
You'll have to
you realize most of our conversations are off mic conversations.
That's what the whole show is. The whole show is one giant off. There's sometimes where I lied. I do listen to most of our episodes. I go back and I'll throw it when I run out of my own podcast that I listen to. Not ones that I host, just this one. I go back, I'll listen to this, and there's sometimes I'm listening to, I'm like, why the fuck didn't we cut this out? It's just us rambling about something. Get to the drinks. But that's what we always said that this show was going to be. And speaking of
the pandemic started.
That's true. Well, because of us, we ruined everything.
Well, didn't we do we went into movies? We had a whole tirade about that. Yeah,
absolutely. That was actually when I first really started talking to you guys, because you guys had the episode that went on forever about movies, and at the very end, you were like, "If you're still listening to this, message us with the word whatever it was."
Peanuts. Wasn't it peanuts? Yeah. The snack.
I got the swag bag.
Oh yeah, that's right. I thought we just gave it to you because we were nice. Guess not. You actually won that shit. That's cool. Hey, look at this. Got the sticker right there. Nice.
And we all have coaster. The stickers up there.
Sorry. We all have official Malting Hour stuff now. By us. That's great. We're good. Let's get into the beer, so I don't have to go back and listen. It's like, the first 20 minutes of the show sucked. So Dan, you went to Bottles and Cans, just clap your hands, and got some lagers. Now, how did you choose these lagers? Now, give us an idea of what made you choose these beers that we're going to drink tonight.
So we decided kind of to do like a face-off type of thing where you're doing the lagers. I couldn't find all the same style of lagers, but I wanted to really focus on lager-centric breweries in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area. So that's kind of what my really, there's only a handful of breweries that do that. So I was just kind of looking for something from each of those breweries.
Where, we'll talk about that. Never mind. I was going to say where's one particular brewery located, but we'll talk about that once we get to that.
I have copious amounts of notes.
Oh man, look at that. Whoa, man. Clark just brings his laptop. I'm glad you actually wrote this out. This guy's old school. Clark, we might not need you to ever come back, just so you know.
I would just say I'm not here to replace Clark.
It's the anti-Clark. All right, let's get into the first beer. What's the first beer that we're drinking, Dan?
All right, so the first one we're going to do is Metropolitan's Heliostat, which is a Zwickel lager.
And what is a Zwickel lager, Dan?
Funny you should ask. A Zwickel lager is unfiltered, and it is meant to be drank fresh, which is where it gets its name from. The Zwickel is a valve on a vessel that they would lager the beer in, and the brewer would get to taste it.
That's cool. I thought there was. I honestly had no idea what a Zwickel beer is. I feel like a big dork for not knowing that. Like, I should know. And it doesn't say when it was canned on, but it does say Best Buy 422, which is my buddy Chris's birthday. So happy early birthday, Chris! We're drinking this beer for you. And actually, that would mark my 3-year anniversary at my current job. Look at all those fun facts that no one's ever going to use. This beer smells like a lager.
Yeah, it's definitely light in color. It is hazy, but not in like a hazy IPA hazy. It's just not clear.
It's nice.
This is not a knock to the beer. Going off smelling it, I'm definitely getting like, going back to my childhood, drinking beers, like a Bud Light, or not Bud Light, like Budweiser, MGD, like that kind of, that smell that you recognize from, beers that you grew up with. That's definitely there.
Like that standard, I don't say standard, but very familiar lager smell. There's like that almost like grainy, cereally, and then there's that like almost a sharp, bitter aroma.
Yep.
That kind of like, it's not skunky, but because of all the beers that I had, like you said, Brandon, growing up, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, because all the beers that we had were not great and probably old and sat in the sun and stuff like that. I'm in no means, comparing this beer to that, but there is that familiar type of, aroma.
That's like a Pavlov type of thing there.
There we go.
You smell it and you're just imaginally, emergent, or I can't even speak right now. Think of skunk beers.
Oh, wow. You're getting deeper than Clark. This is going great.
Smarter guy in the show.
we finally got a smart guy on the show.
Speaking of which,
yeah. What do you
I
got?
do have some more fun facts here.
Lay it on us, because Brandon and I just really we just like to drink the beer while Clark talks, and
I'm just breaking my dry January right now. So
yeah, that's right. Congratulations,
Congrats
man. You made it all wow. Not bad. Good job.
I didn't even attempt, but I did slow down. I will say that.
I had a couple of beers in January.
Yeah.
Couple 2-3.
So I was doing a little bit of research on each of the breweries when I was looking at all this. In Metropolitan, because I was trying to compare them, the 3 different breweries. Metropolitan started in the end of 2008.
Oh, wow.
And they're in the Avondale neighborhood, which, I mean, if you're from Chicago, but it's a pretty centrally located. It's right on the river. Really cool tap room that they got. It was a husband and wife who have since been divorced, but they're still both involved. Doug is the head brewer. And fun fact for all 3 of these breweries, they all attended the World Brewing Academy, which is a mixture of the Siebel Institute in Chicago and the Domans Academy in Munich.
I guess it makes sense then why they all went straight focused on lagers. Especially Metropolitan, for those of you guys who don't know, that is their main focus. I don't know if do they make anything else, or are they just 100%? Do they have any wheat beers?
I don't think so. One of the other breweries on here has a Hefeweizen.
Do they have a Dunkel?
They might.
It's still a lager, though.
Yeah, it's still.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I was kind of just going off of like flavor profile and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going. They got early spring Jetstream wheat beer. Ooh,
and I think that might have been a new turn for them when they moved to their new location, because they originally started in like Ravenswood ish. They were at like Foster and Ravenswood. Actually, they were on Ravenswood. They were literally right around the backside of where Koval Distillery started as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And now Koval's gone, and Urban
Brew Labs
is in there now, and they have a tasting room and everything too. So
they've got a arc welder Dunkel rye that I've never tried. That sounds amazing. I have had a lot of their beers. I was talking to Dan about this earlier, that a friend of mine, Phil, he used to be a big beer drinker, big IPA guy, and then just burnt himself out on it. And the only thing he really likes now is bourbon, occasional like big stout, and Metropolitan. Like literally, that's it. It's Metropolitan brewing is all he really enjoys. So I have had a number of these beers while hanging out with him.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the Zwickel. I think that they actually just started canning this within the last like 2 years. because it's supposed to be drank so fresh. They were for a time only having it on draft in the brewery.
Oh wow. Yeah, this to quote many times, like we've said on these episodes, I could drink this beer on a nice hot summer day. I could. I really like this beer, actually. This not actually. I'm not. So I think I've said this before. I don't really care about lagers. I'm not a huge lager drinker. I see a lot of posts about lagers and how lagers should be respected. You know what? Tony's rant. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Just drink what the hell you like. If you just want to sit around and drink hazy IPAs all day, good for you. You want to drink pastry stouts all day, good for you. You want to drink lagers every day, all the time, great. You want to drink IPAs, fine. Don't give anybody shit about what they like drinking as much as you don't want them giving you shit about what you're drinking. So just shut up and drink your beer.
I do have to
and rant.
Point right now that you have a hat that says lager on it while going on that rant.
It's my Firestone Walker lager hat that I got when I went to the Great American Beer Fest with Brandon back in 2019. Was it 19?
I feel bad that I didn't go back to get that hat.
To get the hat? Yeah. All I had to do was say the word lager and then try their lager, which I liked. Now, after that rant being said, by the way, the Rams just won.
Really?
Yeah. After that being said, I do like lagers. I just don't love them. I don't really seek them out. I have to have a taste for them. When I go out to buy beer, it's normally IPAs or pale ales. That's normally what I shoot for. It also depends on the time of year, but if I want beer that I'm going to have, oh God, excuse me. I hope I edit that out. That was gross. I don't really go for lagers. I mean, lagers are good. I'll drink them. It's just not my go-to beer.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm very seasonal with my drinking. This is a good one though. It's light, like Brandon was saying, and is, or like Tony was saying, you can drink it on a hot day. But I am getting it's just straight malt, and then maybe a little bit of a crispness coming from the hop.
Yeah, it's kind of the aroma is almost like a bready, yeasty aroma to me too. Now that we've gotten past that original malty cereal, kind of skunky type hop aroma. Now it smells like yeasty bread to me. It could also be because I made homemade pizza last night, and that smell of yeast dough, yeast is.
So one of my goals we talked about in the Maltese, like what do we want to do this year? One is drink more Belgians for me, but I do want to try to do a good solid lager recipe. And again, I'm kind of in the camp of Tony. I don't seek these out. They're not my favorite style. They're not a style I dislike by any means, but I have a lot of people in my family that if they come through, they're like, what do you got on tap? And I'll be like, oh, I just brewed this, IPA, or I just brewed this stout. And they're like, oh, you don't have anything like normal. And to them, when they say normal, it's like a lager.
Yeah.
So I want to try to perfect a good solid lager recipe. It's kind of a goal for the year.
I had one. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I want to ask you guys, and as I think I've said this on the show before, but one of the things I like about your show is that you guys homebrew, and I've helped brew once. Didn't go well, but I just out of curiosity, how would you lager, if it's supposed to be at colder temperatures, a beer as a homebrew perspective?
Let me tell you. I've done it before. You can do it multiple ways. One way is a way that Brandon and I have both done it, where you actually don't have to cold ferment it. With the yeast strains that we have now, you can actually make a lager, a style beer at room temperature. Now you're going against what the name says, lager, which is cold storage or cold storage. But you can still easily make a lager without having to do it in 30-degree temperatures. Now 30 degrees, it's gonna freeze. I have done it where I have put it in my plastic 5-gallon bucket, and then I've made room in my beer refrigerator and set a temperature control on there for a certain amount of time, and then you have to let it sit at 38 degrees for X amount of days, and then you ramp it up for a diacetyl rest. You don't get that buttery off flavor and aroma on it. You keep ramping it up to finish off the fermentation so it cleans itself up. and that's it. So it takes about a month to do it fully. You want to have that going on for a month before you package the beer. I've done it once, and it's called Shut Up Jeff. It was a pretty good lager.
Well, and then going to
for my
Tony's
neighbor, Jeff.
point, so Tony's point was the first time I did my Oktoberfest, I didn't have a method for cold storage really at the time, and it was done in like mid-October. No, I did it mid-September, and I was looking around for yeast. I'd have to look up the yeast strain. I had it like at the top of my tongue, like for a while.
Was it a dry yeast strain? Or
yeah, it was a dry yeast strain. And I read a lot about it, and all these people had like great success just lagering at room temperature, between 68 and 72 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough. I don't know, fortunate enough. So my office that I work in is in the basement, and I'm in there like Monday through Friday most of the time. And I have like a Dyson heater that I keep in there. So during the times where it gets a little bit colder, I just have that thing set to like 70 degrees, keeps it at that temperature. And I mean, for, my own personal like review, like I think 2 years I've done my Mein Kind, as it's called, turned out phenomenal. Like I'm really impressed with the way that at that standard room temperature, basically that yeast has kind of shined. So
I think I had that at the Christmas episode, right?
yes, you did.
Yeah, that was good.
Brandon, you probably had a little package of Safe Lager, maybe W3470 or S23. Either a yellow or purple package.
I think it was
Possibly.
purple, if I remember correctly.
That's the Bohemian Lager one.
Wait, no, because it's a German strain, I would say.
Because there is a strain.
It's in the cloud.
There is a strain that works particularly well with warm fermenting as far as lager strains go. Trying to look it up.
It's Safe Lager German Lager. It's 189.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know that, and I think there's other strains that are also able to ferment like that. You don't have to actually do it cold. That's the power that's the power of the yeast. That's the power of science. That's how far we've come.
That one will actually do. You can do cold temps in there, but the reviews that I saw, it said it actually you get better performance like when you keep it a consistent room temperature. So
is that Omega or something else?
No.
What's that?
I said Omega, or is that a different brand?
No, it's like Safe Ale, or is it what is it? Safe Ale or Safe Lager? What's it called?
You know what? That's
and
I
Omega.
actually don't know the name of the company. Fermentus.
Omega only does wet yeast, right?
Correct. They don't do dry yeast.
I would definitely. I think I've said this before. An episode with them would be interesting. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may know a guy who works there.
Wow, look at this guy knows everybody. I really appreciate.
I think I know a guy that knows there.
I know a guy who knows a guy. There,
so
actually.
No, what I was going to say is
that is a true statement.
Tobias from Rabbit Brewing.
Yeah,
one of the guys that used to brew with him, I think, left and is now the brewer at Omega.
That's the guy I know. His name's Max.
Yeah.
Well, I know Clint from Lake Effect, who used to, work right next door.
Literally right next door.
Yeah, so I can talk to him probably.
Yeah.
Speaking about that, I saw Clint was in the firehouse this week.
Yeah, that's good news. He said first step, get a heater because it was cold that day.
Yep.
That's gonna be really close to your house, Brandon.
I know. And again, so reminder for everybody: close. We need first crack at an episode. We are gonna, as soon as he's like ready to open, we're gonna be banging on his door and being like, "Let's chat."
You hear that, Clint? We're knocking on the door. We're not talking about Lake Effect. We're talking about Metropolitan here. Overall, I will say, for a style that I'm not really familiar with. It does say on the can the OG Hazy beer, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's kind of cool.
Really cool. Yeah.
I do like it. I do think it's a tasty beer overall. I'd probably drink it again. If I probably would drink it again, I mean, if I saw it somewhere, I probably would buy it and take it home with me. What about
Yeah.
you guys?
No, I agree. I think that I tend to lean to darker lagers if I'm going to go lager, especially in the fall.
Yes.
I mean, I love pilsners, but this is good. And when I was reading about the Zwickel beers, and it kept saying it's like a lighter version of a Keller beer and stuff, and I think that fits that to a T. Like it's just light, easy drinking.
Brandon, if someone was walking in the street and they were like, "Hey, man," very calmly, what do you think about this heliostat from Metropolitan? You ever had it before? And if you had to give it a rating 1 out of 5, what would you give it?
I've had it before. If I gave it a rating, I'd give it a 3.75.
I like that.
And you know what? So I have not, and again, pandemic wise, that was kind of the issue. I've not been to Metropolitan. I would love to go and enjoy this out on their patio along the river.
Yeah, it's so awesome there.
Sorry, guys, I'm yawning, and it's not because I think you guys are boring or our show is boring. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend. I tried to go one time. Actually, Clark and I tried to go when things were kind of calming down during the pandemic, and there was a line to get in.
That's where you guys ended up at Burning Bush, right?
Yes, and Burning Bush ended up being pretty good. I'd like to go back there too. The old Catholic.
I don't even think it was
brewery.
well, it's not Catholic. So I think the brewer was Episcopalian or Presbyterian, one of the two. He was a pastor in Evanston, and then ended up he was a home brewer, and his wife's like, "This is really good," and he decided to just be like, "Yeah, I'm not doing church anymore. I'm gonna do beer," and he did. And I mean, they're still open, and dude. The guy opened literally right at the beginning of the pandemic, I think, and they've been doing phenomenal. So I would, Tony and I had talked a couple weeks ago towards the beginning of the month about places we wanted to chat with. We did not mention that. I think that one should be fairly high on our list because that's an interesting chat.
Let's add it to the list now.
Yeah,
as former seminarians,
Yeah, that's us. We went to the seminary, preparatory seminary.
All their beers are also biblical.
Yes, there's a theme to it. Brandon just made it look like his mind was exploding. Yeah, there is a theme to the beers. I have had Clark and I did end up there, and we did enjoy the beers. I don't remember what I had though, but everything was tasty. I remember having a hazy beer there that I really enjoyed, and you're right there by the Chicago River, so that's cool.
Yeah, not the prettiest part of the Chicago River, not like Metro, but
no.
They're working on it. They're working.
Yeah, they're trying. In fact, during that time they were redoing the bridge right over there.
Fun fact about their location: our original daycare that we were going to send our son to is the daycare that's literally right next door to the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Other fun fact is just north of where the brewery is used to all be vacant and used to be a boat lot, and that's where we stored our boat for the longest time. My family's sailboat. We'd have to dump it in the water there and then take it up the river to get it onto the lake. And the guy who owned the boatyard paid a crap ton of money to sell it off to some developer who made a bunch of houses and other stuff there. But yeah,
it's a good story time.
Story time with Brandon.
I've been there once, but I don't have any stories.
Here's Brandon's boat story.
A lot of boat stories.
Yeah, you do actually. Yeah, that is a cool place that we should definitely check out. And it is funny that as we're talking about it, I forgot that Metropolitan's right there as far as off the Chicago River. It's not really right there, but you can hop in the water and just swim if you wanted to.
Well, that's the other cool thing about Metropolitan is that there's a unaffiliated boat rental or raft rental that you can rent a raft with 13 people.
Yeah.
And bring beer on
and record a podcast episode.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we have to do the Metropolitan episode.
And we'll call it On a Boat, episode 78. Ooh, no, that's too soon. We can't do that.
What episode are we on?
Too cold.
Episode 85. That's That's enough. That's enough now. That's no, yeah, that's fine. All right, let's move on to the next one, guys. By the way, Dan, did who Brandon? Did you change his name, or Dan? Did you change your name?
I changed it.
It's fantastic.
I didn't even know it. I did see it.
My God.
I was like, oh my God.
Well, it said Sammy and Dan, Sammy and
Oh.
Danny, or something like that when you first signed on. So
Now it says not Clark, which is perfect.
great. I am going. We actually went hella long on this conversation, so I'm going to request a quick intermission.
That's fine. I have to blow my nose. It's cold in my basement.
Yeah. And then we will go on to the next one.
2 more.
Sounds good. You want to do which one of the two you want to do?
Dovetail.
Yeah, Dovetail. We'll be right back.
And we're back.
Yeah,
I don't know if you were waiting for that or
I was.
Okay.
I got to. Now I got more shit I got to edit. We are back, and we've got more beers to drink. That's normally what happens on this show. We, if you're just joining in the middle of the show, what are you doing and why? We are moving on to our second Chicago-based brewery lager, and this one I have had. And I know I said I don't really like lagers, but I guess I should rephrase that. I don't like pale lagers that much. I like dark lagers a lot.
Are you copying me?
Shut up, Dan. I do, and I'm like I said when we took the break, Dan and I were talking about how tired I am because I've been standing for 5 hours, then sat down to do the show, and my body's like, time to relax. And Dan called me old. I did realize that. Oh shit, I do like dark lagers, and this one in particular is a favorite of mine, and it's a brewery that Brandon, you and I think we should have on the show. Dan, what are we drinking?
We are drinking a Dovetail Vienna style lager.
Yes.
And Dovetail was started in June 2016 by Bill and Hagen, and they met at the Munich Domens Academy that we talked about earlier.
I love this beer.
Yeah, and this one, when I was doing my research, this is a smash beer. So single malt and single hop, 100% Vienna malt, Styrian Golding hops.
I'm gonna try and do this.
Nice,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, so on the website it says that. So hopefully it's right.
Hopefully they're not lying to us on the website. I had this lager last summer, I believe. Oh geez, sorry. I left my phone on the bar there. It's vibrating the microphone.
That's a rookie mistake.
That's a Dan mistake. Dan, please turn off your phone while we're doing episodes. I'm going to edit that so that's what it sounds like. It was you who did it. I did have this beer over the summer. I remember getting it from Bottles and Cans, but the one over on Lincoln and
you had this 2 summers ago.
2 summers ago. Well, then I didn't check in this last summer. What did I say about? Oh, yes. Wow, what did I say? Oh, yeah, I gave it a 4. 2020. June. Oh man, I had this in 2020, the year that nobody wants to remember. I did also have it last year. I got it at Bottles and Cans. I remember because I was with my good friend Alex, and we were moving some stuff from my dad's, and we decided after moving stuff all day in the heat, earned some libations. And this was part of my mixed 4-pack. And I told him to buy a full 4-pack, and he did, and he loved it.
It's a good beer.
And that's it. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, no. So I wrote down, so with Vienna lagers, obviously amber in color. We haven't really talked about that, but it is like amber with a slight like orange tint, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's Austrian, obviously, is the name, Vienna, Austria. It was first to market in 1841, and tying back into Brandon making his Marzen beer.
Yeah.
They both were released the same year. They're very similar in recipe because they were 2 friends that traveled together that then broke off and made the 2 different styles.
Oh. So Brandon, next time you do your Oktoberfest Marzen beer, I'll do this, and we'll do side-by-side drinking it together.
We should, because this is so not to.
Dan can help brew both of them.
Yeah, not to put anything against the Metro beer. This one I feel like is smoother. I don't want to say cleaner, but I guess kind of it is. Like there's
doesn't have the same hop bite that the last one had.
No. It's just very, and again we use this term loosely. Like it's easy drinking. Like we
use balanced, really.
Whatever. I poured like half of this, and I'm like half down.
This is the one that I was gonna.
So.
Yeah, well, when you guys were talking about you save some, I meant to do that with the Metropolitan. And I poured the whole one, and I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. And then I was like, all right, for the last 2, I'm gonna pace myself. I'm not gonna drink them all. I'm gonna finish this Vienna style lager from Dovetail because I absolutely love it. It's got like a sweet maltiness to it. It's got a bready. It's not super bitter. It doesn't have that, I think that, like you were saying, Brandon, that sharp hop bitterness from the Metro beer.
Yeah, I would be curious to know the yeast that they use, and I don't think they probably identify that on the website.
No, they didn't.
Let's call
I
him.
will ask the person I know at Dovetail if she knows.
I like that you guys know people everywhere, and I don't know anybody. I know Jeff. Do you guys know Jeff?
I know Jeff.
I met him
Yeah.
once.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I live next door to Jeff, so there you go. You guys can have your beer friends and all this beer shit. I know Jeff.
Your
Wouldn't
Glarus
it be
plug.
like mind blowing if Jeff was like a brewer? You didn't even know it. He never told you. He just did shit in his basement and like.
No, I've been to his basement. That's not happening. No, it'd blow my mind if Jeff had beer people that he knew, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." God damn it, Jeff.
Jeff is secretly, hot butcher.
Makes sense. It's all making sense now. He's like, love those hazy IPAs. Oh man. Yeah, I haven't had a bad beer from Dovetail yet.
No.
I have tried. I don't know if I've checked them all in, but I've gone there a couple times and I love their spot. All of their beers are awesome. They have a really, really good. I don't know the proper way. I think it's, you pronounce it Crick, right? Or Creek. Cherry beer. Creek. Is it Creek? Kriek.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
That is fucking awesome. I'm also, I also really like cherry beers when it comes to fruited beers. But that is really good. Their Helles Lager is also very good. I think I've had the Dunkel, not Dunkel, Hefeweizen from them before, which I also did like. And I'm trying to think of, I'm going through the colors in my head because their labels are all the same with the yellow and white, but then where the beer up at the top beer style is, it's always a different color. What's the black one? Is that a Bock beer?
Yeah, they had a holiday bock, which I think is black.
Maybe that was
They had a Roush beer.
Yeah, they got a Roush
okay.
beer.
Back to the Roush beer. Yeah, I love this beer. This is probably my favorite beer from them.
Best beer and a Maybach.
Oh yes, I had a Maybach. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah, I've had a Maybach from them.
I am like blanking right now, and I was trying to Google it without success. But whenever you brew a beer, and then you immediately put it in like a steel tank vessel for open air cooling.
Yeah,
cool ship.
Cool ship.
I was gonna say they cool ship all their beers.
Oh yeah, sure. That's their. Have you ever seen their? Have you ever been there?
No, I've been to the tap room. I've never been to the brewing area.
Open air
awesome.
fermenting.
Well, yeah, but not in like a. I don't think it's like susceptible to like spontaneous fermentation, but they
do have
all their beers.
Yeah, they do do a lot of spontaneous.
They do all. Yeah, they do. Like the vignette series that they have.
Oh man, that's right. I forgot they have like a peach beer, the Pesh beer, which is really good. A regular lager, the Kolsch. Oh man, I'm getting thirsty for all of these. Oh yeah, the XO series. I remember that. I had a Wild Vienna from them. That was good.
I still have a XO. It might be the one like that was like the route. It was like smoked something.
Flanders
Roush beer. Yeah, I have that.
500 milliliter bottles.
The only time I've ever been to Dovetail was with you, Tony. I forget who else was with us. It might have been Myke.
Is that for your birthday?
No, it wasn't my. I don't think it was my birthday.
No, we went
to Beguile.
Yeah.
Beguile.
Which is right next to Dovetail.
Yeah, and they do a lot of stuff. They actually have they do like their own like fests and stuff throughout the year, like to kind of support the neighborhood. So
yeah, which we didn't say, but they're in North Center, which is like Lincoln and Irving and Damon.
Brandon's familiar with that area.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else about
that seemed like a knock at you, Brandon. Yeah, Brandon's familiar with that area, if you know what I mean.
Hey, I would love to be in that area, but that's a nice area.
I lived in that area at one point. Yeah. So, and I know Jeff. Fuck off.
So what I was gonna say is Dovetail, for all the carpenters out there listening, is a reference to woodworking, putting the pieces of wood together. But I was going back to their tap room, the like woodwork in there, and how it's just. I went there like the week they opened, and it just smelled like fresh cut wood. But it's a pretty beautiful tap room.
And if I remember correctly, I don't, pandemic. I don't know if they still do it. They used to have a thing where you could go to their website and sign up. Like if you wanted to help brew, Like you could sign up and like they would let you come in and like brew beer with them.
They did a thing with the cherries too, where they needed to be depitted and destemmed, and you got beer to take home. You know, I do remember that, but I don't. I think because of pandemic time, pandemic times, maybe they're not doing that. Sorry, go ahead.
But we did talk about when we were there, like we should talk to them about like a group thing, like signing up and saying, "Hey, can we all come in and like brew?"
Yeah, we talked about that as a brew club. Yeah, that's right.
Not a brew club, but a podcast. I think that would be awesome to go in and
the brew club is show.
No, I'm saying when we first originally talked about it, we did it. We were talking.
No. And I'm saying now, if they still,
I know what you're saying now, man. All right, we're on the same page. He's gonna mute me.
Oh, you're fired.
Hey, it's just Brandon and I now. And Clark when he comes back.
Hey, it's me, Clark. I'm here.
Tony, sorry, you still have to edit all this though.
It's bullshit. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool to go in there and to do that. I also want to point out that every time I hear Dovetail, I think DuckTales. So I just wanted to say that as well. I think that when I first had Dovetail, I was very much still into only like I'm only gonna drink IPAs and big imperial stouts and barley wines. I didn't even really like sours or anything. I just wanted like super hoppy, high alcohol, big badass flavors. And then I went to Dovetail and I was like, it's got German beers, huh? Okay. And I have not turned back. I've loved every single one of their beers that I've tried, and I look forward to trying more of theirs. They to me, in my opinion, do no wrong. When I worked at certain festivals and I got to work at the tent that Dovetail had their beers at, which I think that was a Helles Lager one time or a Pilsner. I drank that the most while I was supposed to be working. I was working at a beer tent. I also get to drink. We're gonna edit that out.
So I drink 5 gallons of that beer.
Yeah, I drink a lot of beer at those fests. It's a lot of fun.
No, but they definitely, like you're saying, they're like, in my mind, like the most traditional style of German beers.
Yeah.
Like because you think of American breweries and everything's like pumped up to the max, but they hold back on things, but in a traditional sense.
In a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, in a good way.
Agreed.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
But also, as they always say, and I'm sure you guys as brewers will be able to speak to this, but is it like a lager is something you can't hide flavor, off flavors in?
Correct. You can.
So it's like keep it simple, but you have to do it really well.
Yeah. And by no means, when I say keep it simple, is what they're doing. They're not doing anything simple.
Well, and it again, if this is truly like a smash beer, like, and again, kind of reiterating on that single malt, single hop. So to describe that, it's literally they use one malt for the entire grain bill, and then one hop.
That's it.
It's super. If something goes wrong, you'll know.
Yeah,
like you would know. Like even if you've never brewed that before, like you have an idea, like with the grains you use and the hops you're gonna use. Like, all right, it should kind of taste like this, and if it doesn't, you'll know. And it could, but that could then kind of go back into
with 100% Vienna malt and Styrian gold. So I'm assuming the 100%.
Wait, which one are we looking at? The Crike or the?
No. Here.
I'm pointing on the screen like you can see.
It's backwards, I think.
No. I see it. Yeah, I see it at the top.
Yeah. I'm just assuming, like going to like a literature sense here. I'm assuming the 100% applies to both the Vienna malt and the hops.
Oh yeah.
It's a single. Yeah, that's what. I mean, literally, that's what Smash stands for. Like Brandon said,
right.
Single malt, and single hop. So yeah, that is impressive, and that's awesome. And
this
now
is
I want the recipe.
super clean,
Yeah.
and
I like the sweetness to it.
Yeah, me too. It's not overly sweet. I don't want to say this is a hot day beer or whatever. Like it's this, dude. I think more fall.
It's a spring.
This.
Yeah, I was gonna say
spring
or fall.
Yeah. Winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you got to do is drink the Vienna style.
Them all.
Drink them all.
Drink this around a fire.
Shit.
Sit around a fire.
Yeah, I can do that.
When we do our next camping episode.
Oh, shit. This time we're gonna camp an hour away from home. Unless we go back up there and go to all those cool spots we found when we were walking
if we end up doing the New Glarus Fest,
Hey, perfect time to go camping, baby. That's enough my conversation, Dan. We'll talk about that later. Oh, what?
We're not
We'll talk
camping.
about
We're
now?
going to be in a hotel room, but an episode should happen.
You're just bringing that up in general.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
right. You did say you already locked down a hotel. Oh God, let's move on to the next beer. Huh? Beer number 3 for the night.
All right.
Can't
So,
believe
beer.
how much beer. I feel like I don't know how to do this podcast anymore because it's been a month. That's the other thing too. We had all these episodes recorded, which I thought a break would be great, and I was looking forward to like coming back and doing the show. I have aged in a month. I feel like I have become weaker in a month. That
Because you're almost 40.
Yeah. A week after this episode, I'm a 40. I'm a 40. I will be a 40 ounce.
I'm a 40 man.
After this, I'm drinking 40s, and that's it. Those colors look very similar, Dan.
That might be because they're both Vienna lagers.
Oh shit! Where are your sound effects on that one, Brandon?
Wah, wah, wah.
There we go. Dan's got it better than Clark and Brandon. It's
I
Dan.
don't even know if I ever had that.
That's Dan's new theme song. Better than
Fair
Clark and Brandon. It's Dan. I'll find a way to fit my name in there too, Brandon. Don't
This
worry.
aggression will not stand, man.
I do have aggression towards you right now. Dan, beer number 3 of your inaugural episode. What is it, baby?
So this is a brewery, Goldfinger Brewing, that I have never had anything from, but is all the rage with the kids these days with the lagers.
Your age is showing.
They are they started in July 2020, so they're the super new out in Donner's Grove, and the head brewer / owner Thomas Beckman, he also went to the World Brewing Academy,
Jesus.
and he is a descendant of the Goldfinger family who sold brewing supplies in Central Europe in the mid 1800s, as well as owning a pub in Krakow, Poland.
I thought you were gonna say member of the Goldfinger family, like the guys
band?
the guys from California,
The
who
punk / ska band.
who I still listen to. So don't judge me, anybody.
So do I.
Hey,
It's
no,
okay.
Superman is Tony Hawk #1. I mean, what else do you need?
I love when everybody
I
compare.
miss
Like,
that game.
when people talk about music I grew up with, even people who are the same age as me, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's my favorite song from Tony Hawk." Like, you know what, man? It's gonna make me look like a hipster. I was fucking listening to that before it was in Tony Hawk.
Hey,
Actually, on the
I
others.
was too, because I used to have a whole little punk phase. Goldfinger, they were like vegan. They were doing their thing.
Yeah, still are.
Yeah.
John
Are they still
Feld-
around?
Yeah, man, they
Yeah.
released in the last 5 years, at least 2 albums they put out. John Feld, he's doing it in the old lead singer of MXPX, or the lead singer of MXPX is the bassist in the band now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
But MXDX is still going.
I don't know. I didn't want to make it sound like I knew. I don't know that much about.
Well, you're like name dropping the people in the band. So.
I just name dropped John Feldman, the lead singer of the band. I did not, name the lead singer of MXPX, so I can't think of his name right now.
Tony is doing a great job speaking with his hands right now.
Thank you. And Brandon is also making it look great. Anyways, Goldfinger. Another Vienna.
See, that's what I
lager.
think of. I think
Yeah, I know.
of 007.
I had to
Or that
admit
video
something-
game for
the N64.
yeah, N64. That's what it is.
I made an admission to a friend today that I have only seen one James Bond movie in my entire life, and it was the Daniel Craig one of the Daniel Craig ones. I've never seen another Bond movie. You know why? I have no interest.
That's
I don't know.
I'm in the same camp. I've never seen. He said he has no interest.
Oh.
Sorry, I thought this was our.
I
what
saw
is it?
part
What's the
of a
AS
Daniel Craig James
ASRM?
Bond,
What
and
the
I've
fuck
only
is-
seen clips like that. I like from movies that I've kind of like scrolled through, but
Yeah.
I've never watched like a whole. The closest thing to James Bond I've watched is Austin Powers.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to go Jason Bourne, and you went Austin Powers.
No, but I have seen the Bourne movies. Also,
not
I've never
seen
seen
those.
any of the Godfather movies. So
I haven't either.
What?
I haven't seen the Godfather movies either.
Seriously, you guys never seen the Godfather movies?
no, I've
Well,
never
I'll,
like.
I'll tell you why, Tony. Because I have no interest.
Okay. Man, I can't wait for you to not be on this show ever again. I need Clark back. Clark, I miss you. Where
I
are
thought that
you?
those words would come out.
Yeah, not today.
Tony's sitting around not watching The Godfather. Clark's sitting around not watching The Godfather.
I'm gonna text Clark as soon as we're done with this episode.
Hey, watch The Godfather and then get back on an episode.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about my favorite ska band beer, Goldfinger.
Catch-22. Oh, never mind.
Ooh, deep cut for all you punk kids out there that don't listen to this show.
I
I've
was gonna
against
say,
Catch-22.
I was really waiting to try both of these because they're both Vienna style. So Dovetail to me is definitely cloudier.
Absolutely.
Goldfingers is super clear and more of a reddish tinge versus the orangish that the Dovetail has to me. But
Yeah, there's almost in the dark light that I'm looking at, because I live in the darkness, just like Batman. Have you guys seen all the Batman movies?
no.
Yes.
I don't watch a lot of movies, but I did watch a lot of 007 because my grandfather was really into James Bond and Western movies. So I've like seen a bunch of those old movies.
Too bad he wasn't into Batman. There is like an amberish, as far as me being in the like an orangish amberish. It's not like a deep red or anything.
Yeah, no,
this one
sorry.
in comparison. No, I'm saying for myself. I didn't get that from what you said. I was just wanted to clarify my own.
It's weird when I hold it up, I don't get the red, but when I like have it next to the Dovetail, I see the red for some reason.
Are you seeing red like the band Chevelle?
Yeah.
Do you even get that reference, or are you just
I do.
humoring me? Oh,
No, I remember
Just
that
making
song
sure.
from the radio.
Hey man, they're from Chicago.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Are they like everybody else who says they're from Chicago, but they're really from Naperville?
I think so.
Oh.
The Smashing Pumpkins.
They were actually from Chicago, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
They like, even when they were like a band, Billy Corgan lived in like
It seems like a Ravens
between
winner.
North Center and like Wrigley. Like he lived over there. Like, and I remember I went to a show at the Metro once, and this is dating myself, but Tony might remember if you ever went to the Metro. There used to be a
You're
record store.
dating yourself.
There used to be a record store right next to the Metro. I don't remember the name of it. But we were going to a show once. We walked in there, and Jimmy Chamberlain from like the Pumpkins was like just sitting in there, like hanging out and like signing autographs and just talking to people. And I was like, wait, I just came in here to buy a record before this show. And he was like, he's like, well, I live down the block. And he's like, I just came over here. I was like, okay, cool. Before cell phones, before like I could get a selfie, but like, yeah, it was pretty awesome.
The Metro is the last concert venue I saw a concert before the pandemic.
Man, I'm.
What did you see? Curious.
Little Brother, which might go over your guys' heads. I don't know.
Who is it? Tell us.
Little Brother from North Carolina? No, really? Fonte and Big Pooh? It's like classic, like mid 2000s backpack hip hop.
I act cool, but I'm not that cool, man.
It's like my favorite rap group of all time. Tribe Called Quest,
Remove.
close second. Black
Wow.
Star. Up there.
Oh, I got that. Okay. I was also distracted because I'm trying to remember the name of the fucking record store that was connected to the Metro.
Once I hear it, it's gonna be like, yeah.
It's driving me nuts. I gotta text somebody. Oh, there we go, little brother. Yeah,
Signed at Metro right here.
Hey,
Oh,
man,
really? Wow.
Yeah.
this isn't your vinyl beer pairing show. Save that for your fucking YouTube. This is the Malting Hour. All right.
I can't wait to have Tony on to
Yeah.
name drop more early 2000s punk and ska bands.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a whole episode on it. We're gonna pair our favorite punk albums and beers, where I take Goldfinger and pair it to the Goldfinger album that I don't own on vinyl. I do have
Yeah, I don't either.
just so you guys know, I got a Limp Bizkit album on vinyl in case anybody interested. That is a true
Really?
story. That
Which
is
one?
true- Unfortunately, it's Significant Other. It's
I don't
really
even know what that one is.
that's their second album. That was their album that made them famous.
Oh,
It's got
the
Nookie
thing
on it.
where he's like this on the cover
Yeah.
and it's in cartoon.
Yeah, I wish I had their first one, $3 bill. It's good. It's a good one.
Yeah. I remember buying the Chocolate Starfish one on CD when it came out.
It's a bad idea, huh?
Yeah. I mean, hey, that was like, I was in like middle school. That was cool
Chocolate
then.
Starfish.
What year was that?
Flavored water.
Wait, what year did that come out in? 2000 and oh my god, Dan.
I'm gonna Google it. I'm right on top of that, Rose.
Oh shit. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go back to this beer. Brandon, what do you think of this beer, especially in comparison to the Dovetail, since we basically gave and professed our undying love for the Dovetail Vienna style lager?
Rose year 2000.
I do like it. I honestly I feel like it's a little thinner.
Yeah.
It's thinner.
Like the Stephen King novel and movie?
And when I say thinner, like the malt flavor and everything, there's just like it's got this wateriness that kind of overpowers what I could get or what I was getting from the Dovetail version.
And when you say watery, obviously you mean more of the mouthfeel, not like it's
Correct.
a watered down beer.
Correct.
Just in case anybody.
Well, no. I'm going like with the flavor. Like
really
like, it's well, and I guess it just goes with like it's a thinner body. It's the malt that I would get from it is not as present. Daniel, I don't know if like when you look stuff up, if you found their malt bill, but like, yeah, it's not as crisp. It's not as
actually, I feel like it's what you're saying. And now that I'm drinking it and putting what you're saying in mind, I feel like it's more crisp because it's not as sweet and kind of like breadier, or as bready as last one.
Going back and forth.
I do feel like I'm getting more of that like noble hop bite.
Yes.
It's that the Christmas. And like you said, it is definitely more aqueous than the Dovetail.
Look at that. He's using words other than watered down.
It's actually even like the head on it died for me.
Yeah, same here. I ain't getting no head from this beer.
So did your connection.
If you swirl it around, though, look, she pops back up.
But, and I guess I don't, maybe I'm just confusing like what I'm tasting, but like, yeah, I just feel like the Dovetail one just packs a bigger punch. And again, that's kind of trivial between the two. I just feel like, and I went back and sipped it, like I just feel like I'm getting more flavor.
All right, I do have a little bit left of my Dovetail left. I'm going to take a sip real quick. Sorry, Dan. You can talk. I'm going to just sip.
Well, I was just going to say to distinguish the two. So the Dovetail one comes at 5.1% and the Goldfinger is at 5.5. The Goldfinger is the Czech Saaz hops. So it's a different hop.
There you go.
But
that's where you're saying that
the
noble
other
hop
thing,
vibe.
The other thing that's may differentiate it, I don't know if Dovetail doesn't do this, and I don't fully understand this. Maybe you guys can elaborate. But the double decoction is what Goldfinger does on their beers.
Now, when
they do what?
A double decoction, which I Googled and read about, and it went over my head.
Oh my god! So that
does too. So
it's a way that they like.
Yes,
run.
It is.
Can you speak? You need to talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I've never done it before, and especially with it's a traditional way of doing stuff with lager. It has to do with the mash, and like there's like heating up water and then adding water. I don't fully know. I know you have to like you have your mash rest, and you're infusing it with like it's I'm not going to try and explain it because I don't fully know, but it is a pain in the ass from what I know, and a lot of homebrewers do it when it comes to lagers. And I think there's been some experiments done. As far as the homebrew level goes, you don't need to do it. The results are indistinguishable, but I think on a larger scale, you can get it. Brandon, it looks like you're trying to do something cool with your hair as you're
trying to.
Looks like you put it in front of your face.
I'm like, why is it so long?
But yeah, so that is, I would say that's probably why there is a difference in the beer and the mouthfeel.
So I also want to point out when I smell the two, I feel like I get the malt more on the Goldfinger, but I don't taste it more than the Dovetail. And I also get, this is going to sound weird, but I almost get like the corn from an empanada.
Ooh, okay. Do you think that's more from like
from the empanada?
Like the sweetness?
I don't know.
Like corn sweetness or just grain sweetness or grain corn?
No. It's not sweet. It's that like savory smell of corn empanada, like the empanada shell.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
not the corn.
I'll be right back. We'll
Yeah,
get some
yeah.
empanadas.
I wish I
That
had
would be
some
awesome.
empanadas right now. Yeah. Welcome to the empanada hour. I could do a whole podcast about empanadas.
No, sorry, I
Each-
didn't even mean empanada.
What the?
What did I mean?
We're gonna say tamale.
Yes, I
Ugh.
did not mean empanada at all. Cut that.
I'm not cutting shit, Dan. Welcome to your first episode and getting to find out that Tony doesn't make any edits, as you pointed out.
Well, when I was talking about corn,
What
you
a
guys
gaff,
never
what a
like
gaff.
caught me.
I thought you were talking empanada. I mean, I've had like a sweet corn empanada, so that's
Also,
I'd like to
feel on
point
the
out,
outside. I
Look
didn't
at the
wanna-
glass that I'm using in tribute of what we could have been doing this episode.
Tampa
Spoiler
Bay.
alert.
Tampa Bay. I was. I was
Dan acts like this video goes anywhere.
I, I had. That's why I asked. Like, oh, you mean like the filling? Like,
Yeah,
like
no,
the
sorry,
sweet, like a
that's
sweet corn empanada.
I was way wrong. It's tamales, like the
Yeah.
corn
I don't get that.
exterior of a
You're
tamale.
wrong. You're off the
But
show.
I do know what you're saying and what you're searching for. I do think
I
you
take it all
drank
back.
too much and you're smelling the
I just hit my tooth in the fucking cup. I hope the microphone picked that up.
um,
That was a Godsmack for talking shit to our new co-host, Dan. Welcome to the show.
yeah, it's funny because I went back and the Goldfinger, I was smelling it. It's stronger. I'm getting more aroma, and I stuck my nose in the can, and I've got more in the Dovetail can too.
He cut
That
his
was
nose. He's
my
bleeding
judge
everywhere.
because I didn't have to in the glass. But I went like the Goldfinger was more aromatic, and I
Exactly.
was getting much more from it.
It's deceiving though.
Yeah, and I feel like the body is just not as heavy as the Dovetail, which is weird because of the we found out the ABV is higher on the Goldfinger versus the, but that would lend to why the aroma is higher, I guess.
So
Even when you
just-
switch them around in a glass, you can see the Goldfinger to me moves much more like aqueousy.
it's the
I
horn
think it's the word.
section. It's the horn section that's making it move like that.
All right, Daniel, we're gonna need you to dumb yourself down.
I made it pretty dumb when I said there's a horn section with the Goldfinger. It's funny. So as you guys are going back and forth dissecting this beer, and I'm still wrapping my mind around that Dan meant tamale and not empanada and corn.
I'm wondering why I don't have either of those in front of me right now.
I had more of the. I've been sipping on the Goldfinger one. I still have some of the Dovetail left, and as you guys are going back and forth, boring me to death to have me want to edit until this part of the show right now. Me talking, I really, I don't know. I it's hard for me to now distinct. There is a small difference between the two.
Mhm.
Listening to, and I'm all joking aside, listening to you guys going back and forth, I'm putting that all in my thoughts as I'm sipping it, and there is a difference in the beers, but I don't feel like I'm getting that drastic of a difference that you guys are getting. But then I tend to be the odd man out in these situations.
I mean, not to like take shots as the first Goldfinger beer I've had, but I would much rather have the Dovetail than the
I agree.
Goldfinger.
I do
Yeah.
agree on that. And maybe that's just because I'm partial to it because I already had it before and I really like it. I don't dislike the Goldfinger beer, but anyways, I don't think you guys dislike it either. I think you're
Oh,
just talking
God,
about
no.
the comparison. Let's just want to make that clear. Goldfinger, have us come to our show, and it'd be fun. We say this every fucking episode. You know, it would be fun. Here's ideas. A blind taste test of these two beers in the future wouldn't be a bad idea to see if we can pick out which one is which, or see if we have those same ideas now that we have come to this kind of crossroads on these two beers.
What I think would be fun is doing these beers. If we brew a Vienna Stout lager, we brew one,
Mm.
have that in a lineup with
Oh yeah.
these.
Would it be cheating if I brew the beer and while it's fermenting for those 30 days, I just on like a nonstop loop just play every Goldfinger song ever written and see if that has any effect on the beer?
No,
that
that would be
Wu-Tang beer?
interesting to see what the effect would be. They made whiskey blasting Metallica, so let's see what happens.
Vienna style lager, blessed by Goldfinger. And then we'll do a pastry stout where we just play chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water the whole time.
I wish we could end this episode with a Goldfinger song. But we never get
Chocolate
edited.
starfish.
Oh man.
Remember when we saw them at the Aragon?
Bring it on. Yeah, you know,
John Brady got really mad at me.
You know who opened up for him, the Limp Bizkit that day? Do you remember?
Yeah.
The world's armpit, Machine Gun Kelly.
Are you serious?
That was when he was still doing his I'm all rock. I do rock. And then he realized he sucked at that. He's like, you know what I'll do? I'll do pop and be a little bitch.
Wait,
that's
no,
right. I said
so I don't really know about Machine Gun Kelly too.
You don't need to.
I thought he was like a rapper and then went to like this like weird pop punk thing.
No. He started off as like doing straight up like rock shit. Like like a rap rock type thing. And when he couldn't hang at that and was no good, opening for Limp Bizkit when Limp Bizkit, no offense, Limp Bizkit, couldn't fill the Aragon like 8 years ago or whatever.
Fred Durst is gonna fight you.
Fuck that, man. I love Freddie D. Freddie D's my boy. I said it here on the podcast. I never thought I'd say it. I do like Limp Bizkit, okay? I even like the new fucking album. There it is. Yeah, Dan. I know your eyes just popped out of your head.
The only person in America who listened to it.
Yeah, it has. You know, okay. Cut him now, Brandon. We need Clark back. I want Clark back this second. Get Clark on the phone. I'm just joking. Video feed has been cut.
I went back to I went back to like listen to some of those.
Oh, what, the Biscuit or our episodes?
No. Yeah, that too. No, I went back to listen to some of those old like rap rock era songs. It just didn't hold up for me, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No. You're right. There is a lot. Like I would say 98, 95. I'm going to be nicer. 95% of the rap rock shit did not hold up. And it does not.
I've been listening to a lot of Head PE lately.
There are some like, there's more like there's more nostalgia and sentimental things for those type of bands. I'm I can't believe I got on my Fred Durst rant tonight. I like Limp Bizkit still, man.
It was bound to happen.
I didn't think it ever happened on the show. I mean, Clark and I have professed our. I'm sorry for, by the way, everybody. I'm sorry for all the burping that I've done on this episode. I don't normally burp that much, as you guys know. I'm not going back to edit it. Clark and I professed our love about the Crash Test Dummies, and I feel comfortable with that. I own that on vinyl. Ooh, Dan, there we go. That's the album that you could do with the Malting Hour. Brandon, you have to bone up on Crash Test Dummies. God shuffled his feet.
I listened to a lot of Crash Test Dummies.
Grass Test Dummies. Oh,
Crash Test Dummies.
I don't even know what you're talking about. But I have that. I have God Shuffled His Feet on vinyl, signed by the entire band. Clark and I got it. It's kind of a big deal for us. In fact,
I think I told you like one of the first times you went to see Crash Test Dummies with Clark, and I was like, dude, like, that's awesome. I'd love to go. And then you guys kept going, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, we're going.
For the
So
invite.
you just don't listen to Crash Test Dummies anymore.
We're going at the end of February for our birthdays.
Oh man,
Fuck you guys.
We got the first two seats at the venue, man. The front row, first two. Clark and I are finally gonna sing along with
Is that
Brad.
Old Town School of Folk Music?
No, this is City Winery this time. So
Oh,
if anybody's
City Winery.
around, never been there.
not to take this into a music podcast, but City
We
Winery
clearly have.
is a
We've gone
nice little venue.
off the rails. I've never been there. Have you been there before?
Yeah, I've been there 2 or 3 times, but one of them was for this artist Langhorne Slim, who's like a folky kind of guy. We were in the front row, but you can like eat food while you're watching the show.
I don't want to eat food in front of the Crash Test Dummies. It's embarrassing.
No, they had a good beer list at the time too.
Ooh, nice.
But he like walked out like on our table and was like standing. Like I could have like grabbed his leg, like he was like singing.
That would have been weird. That would have been weird though, right?
Yeah, it would have been weird. But yeah, it's a pretty cool venue.
I'm excited. I think Clark and I are gonna celebrate 40 in a big way. Both of us have our February birthdays.
You guys both turning 40?
Yes, Dan, we are. Not they can announce
just
it.
asking.
Dan,
I
how
don't
old are
even
you? How old are you, Dan? How old are you? How about that? Let's do that. Let's talk about how old Dan is.
34.
No, never mind.
I had to think about it for a second.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, 87.
Hey, you're as old as Alex. So now I don't feel so bad. So now I know how to talk to you from now on. All right, great. So overall, you guys, this has been fun. This has been a fun episode. Dan, I thought you were gonna help us like rein it in and make it not go off the rails.
I think we've been recording for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, there it is.
We've been recording for 2 days. It's already Tuesday, and I'm gonna get fired from my job. Let's see. If you guys had to rank these beers, I know it's not really fair because Dan, I know you wanted to try and get the exact same style, but we didn't, and we've got excuse me, 2 beers that are the same style, 1 beer that is not the same style. If you guys want to rank these beers, let's do it right now. Brandon, you go first. Rank these 3 beers.
All right, I'm gonna go Dovetail, Metro, and Goldfinger.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. That's surprising to me. But Dan, what about you? I'm saving the best for last, baby, and that's me. That's not true. I just calling it out.
So noting that I prefer darker lagers, I'm gonna go Dovetail, I think Goldfinger, and then Metropolitan. But the gap between those last 2 isn't as big as Dovetail over the other 2.
Interesting. Yeah, I am in agreement with you as far as Dovetail, Goldfinger, Metro. And the gap between Dovetail and Goldfinger is not as big as it is for you. Those to me are closer. Like I said, what is it? Heliostat? Am
Yeah.
I saying that right? Sorry, it's hard. I got lights everywhere in this dark room, and it just reflects off these cans, and I can't read shit. It's not a beer for me. It's not a bad beer. It's just not a beer for me. I would definitely drink it again. I'm just not gonna go seek it out. I'm not gonna buy that. These 2 beers I would buy again, especially the Dovetail one. The Dovetail one was around, and I saw the Goldfinger one sitting on the shelf, and there was no other Vienna lagers around. Brandon, I wish that was a GIF that I could, or a GIF as somebody could. Oh, and then same thing with Dan. Dan being like, that's questionable, scratching his head. I would choose the Goldfinger one if I needed to. So yeah, that's where I rank them. That's where I'm at. Dan, welcome to the show. Thank you for grabbing these beers for us. It's a good start to your tenure here on the Malting Hour.
Actually, a good solid start. This was a good thing to review.
Yeah, I appreciate
We've been
it.
talking about this for a while, so yeah.
Well, your next episode that you've curated, which I think we'll be able to do soon. We're looking forward to that. We won't say it's the next one because as I've learned from December's mixing up of episodes, there was some episodes that came up.
We won't even tease it.
They're Tampa Bay beers, man. He fucking bought beers in Tampa Bay. That's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. We don't know when it's gonna happen, but
Just
it's
don't
gonna
know
happen.
when. Probably in February.
Yeah. We got to do it. Yeah, never mind. Off mic.
Ooh, there's a serious conversation coming up. I can feel it. All right. You guys got anything else you want to say about these beers or these breweries other than you love them? Because honestly, all 3 beers were good.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad beer.
Just
am
preference.
definitely craving tamales though.
Do need to go
Not
to
empanadas.
Yeah.
I want empanadas with Brandon.
Come on, both.
Okay, there we go.
We do need to visit Metro. We do need to visit Dovetail. That's like key.
We do need
I don't
more
know,
beer
does-
from Goldfinger.
Does Goldfinger have like a location? Yeah.
They have a tap room and everything out in
Okay.
Downers Grove.
I was just
which is
gonna.
a
Okay,
little
yeah,
bit of a
we
hike.
did mention that, right? We did
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that. Okay.
Yeah, so they do have an actual space. But like, location wise and being easily accessible. When the weather gets nice, I'd love to go sit on the patio for Metro.
I was gonna say what would be fun is springtime lager trip. Before.
Tell them, hey, leave us alone. We're recording.
Well, I mean,
Jar
just
badges.
we can
Yeah.
just go as friends and not record it.
No, that's true too.
I
Do
mean,
you allow that, Tony?
not really. Most of the time, I actually every time Brandon and I have an idea, we're like, that sounds cool. Ooh, let's do an episode. Camping was not supposed to be an episode,
But we brought stuff to record just in case.
just in case. Yeah.
Just like
What else?
the Goose Island Shamrock episode. We were just gonna drink that. The
Yes,
Shamrock
that's right.
Shake.
We're
And
gonna
then
do
we're
the
like,
Shamrock
this is
Shake.
too good to not talk about. So I had to dig everything out.
We did it. So, all right, I think springtime. Let's do a quick and easy lager road trip where we maybe go visit some of these breweries and have a road trip into an afternoon. Have a couple beers. Dan, mainly before your time gets taken up, so we may have to do that sooner than later. You may not have time to go out on the weekends. Yeah, you got it now. You get what I'm saying.
I didn't know what you're talking about at first. I got you.
Sorry. All right. Any last thoughts from you guys? That part
Thank you guys.
Wait,
Thank
that
you guys
part
for
that part I can edit out if you want me to.
No, I was just gonna say thank you guys for formally inviting me and making me not special anymore.
No, you are special.
So special.
You're not Clark. That makes you special. Like it's just you're not a special guest anymore. You're now just a part of the Malting Hour team. Like Brandon and I never had any intention. And when we say team, I mean we just we ask if you're available. Brandon and I are still running this fucking show. We just ask you and Clark if you guys are available.
Yeah.
But we're gonna, as of the posting of this episode, the bumper at the end of the episode is different. You're now included in it. Your name is probably added to most of the social media, but I don't think you're on the website because we don't really do much on the website.
The fearsome
I got that
foursome.
covered. Don't worry.
The fearsome foursome. Oh man, I can't wait till all four of us are on an episode together. We're the Fantastic Four of beer. Because there's not enough podcasts where four straight white men are talking about beer.
End episode.
Brandon, I love you, man.
Love you too, bud.
Dan, I love you too, man.
Oh man. Now I'm starting to blush.
All right. Well,
Dude,
I love
seriously,
you guys.
thanks for doing this and being a part of this. We appreciate it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
and Clark, I love you too.
What?
This has been the Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching the Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us individually on social media. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter BDub81, and on Untapped as BDubDrinksBeer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Ace of Help Chicago, on Twitter the Ace of Help Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Dan can be found on Instagram as hip__hops and hip hops on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at the Malting Hour.